This week we're looking at an interesting passage in Jude. Jude is a short letter about the dangerous and pernicious influence of false teachers and false teachings. These influences can be destructive, and Jude wants his readers to know that and to safeguard themselves against false teaching. So right near the end of the letter, there's this interesting counsel. Let's look at verses 22 and 23 in English from the ESV. And have mercy on those who doubt, save others by snatching them out of the fire. To others show mercy with fear, hating even the garment stained by the flesh. So the first thing that I want you to know about this passage, these two verses, is that it is in Greek a single sentence. And more than that, it includes a grammatical construction that makes it almost criminal to separate the sentence into two verses. So to see that, I want to take a look at it first in Koine with no English. It doesn't matter if you don't read Greek, it doesn't matter. Look at the red words. So notice here in the verse, in the red, we have men and we have de. So a men de construction means men on the one hand, de but on the other hand. And here we have a second de, and that can mean one of two things. It could mean and still on another hand, or yet on another hand, like a third hand, or it can mean and also on the other hand, like there's one thing here in the left hand, but then there's these two things over here in the right hand. It can be either one of those situations. But the important thing to notice is neither verse, 22 or 23, should be read in isolation from the other, because you're breaking that grammatical construction and you're separating this one sentence almost in a thought way into two sentences. So let's dig in and take a look at the phrases that make up this long sentence and see what this men de construction has to tell us. Kai hus men eleate diakrinomenos, not menos, but menus, because it's plural. So diakrinomenos is a present middle participle, and it means wavering or undeciding. And the hus at the beginning is those who waver, turns the participle into those who waver or those who doubt in an ongoing way, because it's a present participle. And then there's this command in there, eleate, have mercy or show mercy. So kai and, then with our men, we get on the one hand. So, and on the one hand, have mercy for those who doubt, for the doubters. So remember, the letter is about false teaching. And the doubters here are those who are sort of ping-ponging back and forth between orthodox teaching and the false teaching that's being introduced into the community. They're wavering. They don't know quite which way to go. They hear it, they think it might have value, but yet they're not sure, and they're sort of ping-ponging back and forth. In other words, when he says, have mercy for the doubters, it's like, save your wrath for the false teachers, not for those who are being confused and being pulled back and forth between truth and error. Okay, let's go on and look at the next part. Hus de sozete ek puros arpadzontes. So there's our hus again, and it's those or them. The de gives us our on the other hand, but on the other hand, sozete, save, another imperative, another command. On the other hand, save those ekpuros, out of the fire, arpadzentes, snatching. But on the other hand, rescue those or rescue them while snatching them out of the fire. So don't just have mercy on those who are ping-ponging, but do the best that you can to save them out of the fire, snatch them out of the fire. on the one hand, have mercy on them, but on the other hand, don't leave them in this dangerous and deadly situation of being subject to false teaching. Snatch them out of the fire. Pull them out of that risk. Now let's go on to the next part. Huste eleate en F.O.M.O, but still, or yet, on the other hand, have mercy for them. Same imperative from that first part. En F.O.M.O, in fear. Like, while you're doing all this, be cautious. There's risk here. Why is it risky? Because when you show mercy to those who are in error, it can be confused, it can be misconstrued as endorsing the error. And it's important that they don't endorse the false teaching and the false teachers in the community, which brings us to the last part. Misuntes. Misuntes is a participle of the verb miso, which is hating. While hating, kaiton apo, tes sarkos, espilomenon kitona. Kitona, not kitona, kitona. So while hating, even ton kitona, the outermost garment. This is really important, okay? The kitona is the outermost garment that a person wears. It's the article of clothing that's the farthest away from the skin. And while hating the outermost garment that was polluted by the flesh, or from the flesh, from contact with the flesh. This isn't the one that's right up against the skin, but what we're being told here is the pernicious influence of false teaching is so polluting, it's so corrupting, that even the outermost garment is corrupted by the flesh, by the polluting nature of unclean flesh. This is pretty wild stuff. So the hatred of the unclean effect on the garment is symbolic for the false teaching and the false teachers. So everything that you're doing here has to be while maintaining disgust and a hatred and even a slight fear and caution for the pernicious nature of false teachers and false teaching. So be cautious while you're having this mercy for the doubters, because the danger in the mercy is that it'll be misconstrued as an endorsement, and the corrupting influence of the false teaching is so dangerous that you need to hate that teaching to the point where anything that it touches is treated as though it's been polluted and made sort of ceremonially unclean. But you have to focus the disgust on the influence and not on those who are doubting and wavering and struggling to figure out what's true and what isn't true. In fact, it's important that you labor to save them like snatching brands out of the fire. Rescue them from that corrupting influence if at all possible, but be careful. Great stuff, amazing stuff packed into that verse. If you break it into two verses, you risk losing that influence. You risk severing the importance of that mende construction. So let's look at it one more time in English, and I've included the mende emphasis so that we don't miss it. And on the one hand, have mercy on those who doubt, but on the other hand, save them or save others by snatching them out of the fire. And on yet another hand, or on still this other hand, to others show mercy with fear. Be careful, hating even the garment stained by the flesh. And remember, the ketona is the outermost garment, the furthest separated from the flesh, but is still under that pernicious influence of false teaching and false teachers. This is a high-risk situation, and the people who are doubters, who are struggling to figure out which way to go, are to be shown mercy, and every attempt should be made to rescue them, but not in a way that endorses the false teaching. Don't do it at the price of endorsing the false teaching. hate the corrupting influence of the false teaching and everything that it touches, even peripherally, but do so in a way that has a winsome effect on those who doubt. On Wednesday, we're going to look at that word doubt in depth and see how important it is and what its deeper meanings are. Thanks for watching. I hope that was good for you. If it was, please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and until next time, Charis Kai Rene Humin, grace and peace to you.